Welcome to industrial timber, where raw wood, recycled steel, hydraulic force, spinning blades, and homemade engineering turn ordinary firewood work into serious mechanical production. Some are built from scrap, some come from professional factories, and some look rough until they start working. Right away, we meet a splitter that redefines muscle and speed. This portable powerhouse is armed with a multi-blade system that can slice through work in record time without wasting energy or wearing out the operator. From simple backyard firewood jobs to heavier production work, the machine crushes the load, saves the back, and pushes output much higher than hand labor ever could. Why break yourself swinging tools all day when the machine can take the force and do the hard work for you? Then the Pezzolato VSP 6060 steps into the spotlight, and this machine is clearly built for serious firewood production. With a strong hydraulic system and the ability to produce up to 5 splits per cycle, it is made for high-volume work where speed and consistency matter. For commercial operators, machines like this can transform the workflow completely. The output is impressive, the splitting force is reliable, and the production rhythm is far more efficient than manual handling. Of course, machines at this level also come with higher operating costs, more maintenance, and a bigger investment. But for the right business, that trade-off can make sense. Then we move into the world of scrap metal engineering. What looks like an old pile of discarded parts becomes something functional, powerful, and surprisingly useful. Grinding, welding, assembly, hydraulic fittings, frame alignment, every step turns waste material into a working firewood splitter. That is the kind of build that fits perfectly into industrial timber. It is not about polish. It is about taking raw metal, solving a problem, and building a machine that makes tough work look easier. Next comes a kinetic log splitter, and the concept is simple but clever. A small electric motor stores energy inside large flywheels, then a rack and pinion system releases that energy into the log with speed and force. Instead of relying only on slow hydraulic pressure, the machine uses stored momentum. That gives it fast cycle times, clean splits, and strong efficiency for its size. It is a smart reminder that good engineering is not always about using the biggest motor. Sometimes it is about using energy in the right way. After that, we see a custom saw and splitter setup working together like a small firewood production line. The saw handles the cutting, the splitter handles the force, and the whole system reduces wasted movement. This is no longer just chopping wood. This is process design. When every part works together, the job becomes faster, smoother, and easier to repeat. That is how small-scale firewood work starts looking like real industrial production. But splitting wood is not only about force, it is also about precision. Leverage matters, control matters. Every strike, every cut, and every log position should have a purpose. A person who understands the wood does not just attack it blindly. They read the grain, manage the angle, and let the tool do the work. Skill beats raw force every time, and that is true whether you are using an axe, a hydraulic splitter, or a custom-built machine. Then comes a homemade wheel chopper that feels like a throwback to the old days of practical ingenuity. Using an old tire rim, the builder creates a simple working solution from whatever was available. It is not fancy, but that is exactly the point. In real workshops, good ideas often start with scrap parts, basic tools, and a problem that needs solving. Nothing goes to waste when the builder knows what he is doing. The DIY flywheel sawmill follows with the same rough but clever spirit. A custom-built sawmill like this can completely change how someone processes wood at home or on a small job site. With enough creativity, a difficult cutting job becomes manageable. The machine may not look like a factory unit, but it has toughness, precision, and the kind of homemade character that makes people stop and watch. Then we see logs that look far too large to move by hand, but the homemade splitter handles them like routine material. It chops them into clean 20-inch pieces, and the solid frame tells you the builder understood the loads involved. The engine sound, the frame strength, and the splitting action all work together. This is the kind of tool that feels like a craftsman's secret weapon, turning raw timber into usable firewood with steady force. Of course, not every homemade setup inspires confidence at first glance. Sometimes something feels slightly off. Then the machine moves, the log reacts, and suddenly the result explains everything. That is the nature of custom machinery. Some builds look questionable until they prove themselves under load. Others reveal their weakness the moment the pressure hits. Then the idea gets even more practical. Imagine cutting wood at home without paying a fortune or dealing with giant equipment. A compact solution that is fast, precise, and affordable could change the way many people handle firewood. If hardware stores carried more tools like this, plenty of homeowners would be first in line. Convenience matters, but only if the machine is strong enough to earn its place. Another homemade splitter runs from a wheel-driven system, and the result is hard to ignore. It can split logs up to 46 inches, which sounds almost unreasonable for such a simple-looking setup, but that is what makes it interesting. The design looks basic, yet the mechanical advantage is clearly there. Sometimes the smartest machines are the ones that look almost too simple to work. Then the Pezolato VSP 4060 vertical splitter enters as another serious firewood machine. Powered by an 18-kilowatt motor, it is built for larger jobs where reliability and repeatable output matter. Whether it is used in a business or for heavy private firewood work, this is not a casual backyard toy. It is built to work, cycle after cycle, with the kind of consistency that high-volume splitting demands. The next custom splitter stands out for its smooth and steady action. No rushing, no awkward movement, no wasted effort. It simply cuts through logs with reliable rhythm. That kind of consistency is what makes a machine valuable. Flashy speed is one thing, but a splitter that runs cleanly every time is what keeps production moving. Then we compare cone splitter designs. The Iseki cone splitter with speed control shows impressive efficiency under load. It cuts smoothly and manages power well, while the Yasuki 180 with the thinner cone needs full throttle when the wood gets dense to avoid stalling the tractor. That difference matters. A well-engineered homemade solution can offer real advantages in power management, reliability, and operator control. After that, we see another clever use of scrap, a saw built from a Japanese mini truck differential. That is exactly the kind of mechanical creativity that keeps workshops interesting. It cuts cleanly and stays balanced. And with small improvements like shallower wedges and better balancing material, the whole setup could reach another level. It proves again that discarded parts can become valuable tools in the right hands. Then comes a stubborn tree that refuses to cooperate. In timber work, that is never just an annoyance. A stubborn tree usually means stored tension, awkward lean, bad grain, or pressure that the operator has to respect. Wood may look still, but it can hold a surprising amount of energy. The next point is simple. If you build a wood splitter correctly, it becomes a real powerhouse. With the right knowledge, careful construction, and a strong design, a homemade machine can outperform old manual methods by a huge margin. At the end of the day, this is not only about chopping wood. It is about working small like that, reducing wasted effort, and letting the machine carry the force. Then we see a bandsaw that does not look average at all. With a 5 kilowatt motor and 13-inch car wheels, it is clearly built for performance. Once shielding, motorized pushing, and lifting systems are added, this machine could take roundwood cutting to another level. It is rough now, but the foundation is strong. That is usually how good workshop machines begin. Next comes a hydraulic splitter designed to take on tough roots and stubborn stumps. Anyone who has tried moving a stump by hand knows how difficult that job can be. Roots do not release easily, but with steady hydraulic pressure, the machine breaks the resistance piece by piece. Strong, controlled, and surprisingly clever, that is exactly what heavy wood processing needs. Then the blade speed becomes the main attraction. The machine slices so fast that the log seems to disappear almost instantly. It feels almost unreal, like a magician cutting a ribbon. Except this is steel against hardwood backed by a deep V8 growl. Standing next to a machine like that would probably shake your chest with every cut. Then comes the Super 50. Facing a log bigger than usual. A weaker machine would stall, struggle, or force the operator to break the job down manually. But with one push of a button, the Super 50 takes the challenge and splits the log like a twig. That is the appeal of heavy-duty equipment. It does not just make normal jobs easier. It gives you confidence when the abnormal job shows up. Still, power is not always necessary for everyone. The speed of a high-output splitter is impressive, but not every person needs that kind of production. Unless someone is working through 20 cords a year or trying to finish everything in one afternoon, that much machine may be more than required. That is an honest point. Bigger is not always better. The right tool depends on the workload. And for some people, there is still value in splitting with a maul. It is slower, yes, but it gives exercise, rhythm, and a quiet sense of accomplishment that machines cannot fully replace. Industrial timber respects both sides, the old manual skill and the modern mechanical solution. One builds strength, the other builds output. Finally, we return to one of the strongest themes in this whole episode, turning scrap metal into a powerful electric wood chipper with a flywheel system. Built from discarded materials, it shreds branches into mulch and proves that waste can become something useful. That is creativity, sustainability, and mechanical strength working together. Nothing about it is polished, but the idea is solid. Old material becomes a working machine, and rough parts become real productivity.